Okay, today I'm going to talk a little bit about how to write equations of lines in the particular given forms that I might ask for. So today we're going to write equations of lines given a specific graph. So the first thing I want to do is kind of think about what an equation of a line will look like. Okay, in class we've talked about two different types of equations of lines. The first one is slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form looks like y equals mx plus b, where m represents the slope and b represents the y-intercept. Another type of line we've talked about is an equation written standard form, which would be ax plus by equals c. Now, if we're given the graph of a line as we are in this particular problem, the most logical equation to use would be the equation written in slope-intercept form. If we look at this equation, y equals mx plus b, we really need to calculate two things to come up with the equation of a line: the y-intercept and the slope. So I'm going to start by finding the y-intercept of this line. The y-intercept, or the value that we need to substitute for b, is a value at which this crosses the y-axis. So in this particular case, our y-intercept would be equal to -4. Okay, once we've calculated the y-intercept, we need to take a look at our slope. The slope can be found from a graph by using rise over run. So our slope in this case would be 1 over 2, or we would say the slope of this line is equal to 1/2. So substituting these values into the particular equation, or color code it, substituting these values into the equation as highlighted will give us the equation of this particular line. So our equation will be y equals 1/2, that's our slope, times x minus 4. So again, from our graph, this value right here represents the slope, and this value represents the y-intercept. So this equation, y equals 1/2 x minus 4, is the equation of the given line. Now, if we go up here and take a look at these particular instructions, it asks us to do something with this equation. It asks us to take this equation, y equals 1/2 x minus 4, and it asks us to convert from this form to this standard form given some special criteria. Once we're in standard form, we need our values for a and for b and for c to be integers, meaning whole numbers, and we also have to note that the value in front of x, or our a value here, cannot be negative, so that needs to be positive. So in order to do this, I'm going to start with this equation in slope-intercept form, and I'm going to move the x and y to the same side of the equation by subtracting 1/2 x from both sides. When I do that, I end up with minus 1/2 x plus y equals -4. Some of you might wonder why I chose to write the x value first. I'm just going back to this particular form. The x here comes before the y. So now I've got x and y on both sides. However, we have to meet these particular criteria discussed in this part of the problem. A and b and c need to be integers. So in order to get rid of my fraction here and to get rid of this negative, I am going to multiply both sides of this equation by -2. The golden rule in algebra says what we do to one side, we must do to the other. When I do this, I'll distribute. -2 times -1/2 is a positive 1x. A -2 times a positive y is a minus 2y. And -2 times a -4 is a positive 8. So the equation I end up with is x minus 2y equals 8. This equation right here is also the equation of the given line in our graph. Two separate ways to write the equation of a line.